Hey YouTube, there are 3 weeks left in the GBL season as you can see here. So this week is Ultra League and Electric Cup. Next week is only a Catch Cup. And then the last week is Great League, Ultra League, and Master League. So this video will go over the top Ultra League teams, which hasn't changed much. I'm going to actually go over the rankings of the new Pokemon that have come out over the last 3 weeks. See if they've changed the meta up any. And then Electric Cup, if you want to know the top Electric Cup teams, I'm going to put a video this afternoon. But it's not so much a video of looking at the top Electric Cup teams. It's a video ranting about how Niantic is completely lazy in their GBL schedule. And I just basically talk about that for 8 minutes. So if you want to see a rant, stay tuned this afternoon. But in this video, we will go over the top Ultra League teams. But the top Ultra League teams have not changed in 3 weeks. So it's actually the same 6. So if you don't want to see those 6, I understand. But the problem with the Ultra League is that the meta has not shifted. So we had Community Day with Clodsire, and Clodsire has actually changed up the meta, not as much as it could have with the full moveset, but it has changed up the meta to a certain amount, and I think it's actually quite strong in the Great League. In the Ultra League, however, it's a little trickier for Community Day Pokemon like that to change out the meta. And as you're going to see, the Quagsire is at 215. It still has Mudshot here, so Mudshot is, I guess, the move you want to. I think Surf is probably okay, but otherwise, Clodsire, as you can see here, 173. And if you open up the matchups here, you got an 18 and 31 rating. Is this maximized? Yeah, so it only goes up to 2200, even with a hundo, right? So that's why it doesn't really have a lot of play. 18 and 31 beat some stuff it should be, right? Fairies resisting the poisons, like poison resisting the fairy, counters and stuff like that resisted by the ground. Not the ground, sorry. The poisons. But for the most part, it's just like you're going to get out bulked, you're going to get out hit hard, you're going to lose to all the meta, right? So it has not made a difference, which is kind of rough for the Ultra League, because what it essentially means is that for this entire season, it's just the exact same meta over and over again, right? Some Pokemon got buffed at the beginning of this season, some Pokemon got nerfed. So like Glycopod rose up to 17, which I have it on one of my teams. Gliscor got buffed last season with the wing attack, or 2 seasons ago. How many seasons ago was that wing attack buff? 3 seasons ago. But for the most part, it's just the same teams. Greninja with Water Shuriken, that came in, I think, at the end of last season was the Community Day. Or I think last season is when it came into play here, Greninja. But for the most part, as you're seeing with these rankings, it is just the same old, which is kind of, I was going to say good and bad. It depends on how you view Ultra League. You can view it as stale, or you can view it as you have teams that you can go to use. So I use 6 teams this season. I've already gone over these teams, so I'm just going to quickly go over them. If you want to use them, I have full videos on all of them. So if you want more in-depth analysis, there's that. This is a grass double water team. Like basically, Laurentis has got a fire weakness, and it's going to be tough against Giratina and Flyers. So Jellicent, Walrein will combo those. Both are pretty safe swaps. Laurentis is very, very strong in how spammy it is. Like those Leaf Blades and Super Powers are very, very fast, but there's just a lot of Pokemon in the meta, Giratina, Charizard, stuff like that just are going to beat it pretty easily. So you need to cover those, and I think Jellicent and Walrein cover those pretty well. This team is a super balanced team. I really like this team. I've used this team many times if I need to grind. Swampert, Charizard, Giratina. Swampert weak to grass, Charizard cover that, Giratina safe swap. You have, I think Dragon is probably the closest, biggest issue for this team. But overall is just a pretty strong balanced team. Use your shields on Swampert and Charizard, Blast Burn, Hydro Cannon, everything, and then Giratina just absorbs damage. This one was a Shadow Steelix. This was like a kind of like a team bulk start. It's actually not Shadow Steelix, it's just a regular Steelix. Crest Steelix, as I've mentioned in the Ultra League video and just redid my Great League analysis on it. It's just in neutral matchups, it's so strong, right? Because you have just Dragon Tail, Break and Swipe, all neutral situations. Where you're going to have problems with this is if you get something that resists it, like Steel or Fairy. So I think the best answer to Steel or Fairy is for Steel it's Virizion, and Fairy is actually not too bad because the main Fairy, there's actually not a ton of Fairies in this meta. The main fairy in Ultra League is Tapu Fini and have Leaf Blade. That's why I'm running Leaf Blade on it and not Stone Edge, just to have that answer to Tapu Fini, because you're going to Leaf Blade it and resist the water guns before they get to the Moonblast multiple times. So you're going to take that matchup, which is why I use that on Verzian, and then Crest as a safe swap. This was my modified legend team from, oh God, I keep bringing up the modified legend team from like 6 years ago, 5 seasons ago. I forget how many seasons ago. The team at time was Pidgeot, Jellicent, Swampert. At the time, you would try to pull out a Trevenant with Jellicent, or you try and pull out a Grass with Jellicent, and then Pidgeot would punish, and then Swampert roams free. Same concept. Not as many grasses around, and I think Dragonite just has better coverage with the superpower now. I think Dragon is one of the best sort of underrated Pokemon in the Ultra League, with the Dragon Breath, Dragon Claw combo, and then having superpower for steals is a pretty strong move set. So that's why I put that instead of Pidgeot, because I've seen a lot more. The thing is, I've seen a lot more like Ace Sand Slashes and stuff like that. So instead of just getting walled by steals, you at least have an answer for steals, even though you take double super effective from ice. Speaking of Tapu Fini is just one of those like generally strong Pokemons that I've always used. You see the other one behind, sorry. Generally one of the strong Pokemons that I've always used. It just got bulk, water guns with decent fast move, surfs are like get to it pretty quickly, charge move, Moonblast, nice coverage. Not a ton of grass roaming free in this. If there are, the main one is a grass fighter in Virizion or poison in Venusaur. So Armored Mewtwo, that's where that comes in. More of a fun Pokemon to use, but it has problems against Dark and Ghost, which is why you cover the Dark with Tapu Fini, you cover the Ghost with Double as your safe swap. And the last team was Glycopod, Cobalion, Skunk. Glycopod got the X-Scissor buff. I'm using Liquidation on it. Some people actually use Aerial Ace instead of X-Scissor as the safe swap move of choice. You can use either. Aerial Ace gives you something that you can at least throw into like Giratina and stuff like that, where otherwise X-Scissor and Liquidation be resisted, but resist Liquidation still does a decent chip. And then Cobalion and Skunk in the back. Skunk because you need something to cover if you're going to, I mean, you can get super effective Shadow Claws against Giratina, but having a dark type Pokemon in the back is better there. And then Cobalion as something that can deal with steals and stuff like that. So those are the teams. If you're playing this week, good luck on the grind. There are 3 weeks left. Plenty of time. 3 weeks is plenty of time if you're grinding. It's going to be tough next week with Catch Cup, right? Because it's only Pokemon. Catch Cup is one of those where if you've built strong Pokemon in the last 2.5 months, it's very, very easy to grind. If you have not, it's going to be tough to grind. In fact, you're probably just going to lose. Most of my last 2 seasons, Catch Cup ended GBL seasons, and I ended the season at like 2,400 because I want to play all my sets every day to get the dust, but I'm not building up new Pokemon when I've already hit Legend. So I would just like crash to like 2,300, 2,400. I've already hit Legend, right? So it doesn't matter too much. Had I not, I would build up Pokemon to use because it's a good time to grind. But this week, the last week is open all the leagues. So that is it. If you want to hear me rant about Niantic's GBL laziness, stay tuned for this afternoon's video because that is exactly what I do. Anyways, that's it. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.